Alright guys, it's now been a week since we last checked on our air layer. Today is August the 14th. It's been 7 days. You can see the progress here. The roots are starting to wrap around. I want to let these guys go another week or so before I cut them off. I can see that they are a bit thirsty, so they would definitely benefit from getting a drink. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what I do in order to hydrate this air layer. So we really don't need any special equipment. I have a small watering can here that we can use to administer the nutrient solution. I also have a syringe. It's optional. I know everybody doesn't have these just laying around. You can get them at a pharmacy, but it does help as well. In case you don't have a watering can, you have either option. And I do have some fertilizer that I'm going to dilute actually. So this calls for a cup for every gallon. Obviously don't have a gallon here. I'm just going to add a couple of drops in there, fill it up with water to make my solution. It's more than a couple of drops, but that works. Fill this up with water. Any fertilizer will do. You can do Miracle Grow. Just make sure that it's diluted. It's going to be not as concentrated as what the instructions call for. That way you don't burn out your roots. Give this guy a little shake, stir rather. And we are able to move on to the next step. So we're going to drop some of the solution. First I'll demonstrate the syringe. So I'll take off the tip there. Draw back some of the nutrients. And we're going to put the cap back on, the tip rather. Now we're able to administer the solution. A couple of injections will work. You just want to provide enough nutrients to the roots. I like to draw it away from the actual roots so that way the roots can, seek the solution and therefore in theory produce more roots or have them search for the solution. So I'll just continue along filling this guy up until I feel there's an adequate amount of moisture inside. Now you don't want to overdo it. You just want enough moisture in there for it to be able to absorb. And if you're not really sure how much you're administering, try a couple of shots, walk away for about 5 minutes, come back, and then check on the soil. You want to be mindful that this is a coco coir sphagnum moss mix, so it does retain moisture very well, and it takes a while for it to, be spread about. So at this point I'm very comfortable with it. You can see that the humidity is built up a bit there, and I do have some spots that are very wet, others that are slightly dry, but as time moves on this will be absorbed and spread about equally. So I'll just go back and close this guy up, protect it from the sun, and we are done with this one. So I mentioned earlier that not everybody has a syringe just laying around the house, so I do want to demonstrate the watering can method. And this is my Ronde de Bordeaux. It's still putting out a lot of figs. I also have some Airlayers that are thirsty, so we're going to go ahead and demonstrate that now. It's very straightforward. You can imagine what I'm going to do. So we're going to get our solution, and we're going to ever so gently water in between the spots that allow the diluted fertilizer to be absorbed. Doesn't take much, just enough. And as I mentioned before, the soil will absorb the diluted fertilizer on its own, so you don't have to sit there and drown it or waste nutrients. Just enough in between these crevices in order to get it absorbed. So I'm going to go ahead and cover this guy up, and we'll be checking on them next week to get them up potted. Thank you guys.